Hello and welcome to another wonderful episode of Iron Port. This program is proudly brought to you by Serene Insurance, Gold Company Limited, the Ghana Revenue Authority, Ghana Link, Meridian Port Services, and Phoenix Insurance. Our proud media partner is the Business and Financial Times. This program is powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. So this week we are discussing marine cargo insurance, and we had in the studios expert to discuss how beneficial it will be for importers to insure their goods locally. Let's take a listen.
Walk us through what exactly marine insurance is.
Okay.
Going back to basics.
Yeah, marine insurance, I'll say it's one line of insurance. Insurance has various lines, but this line of insurance actually is applicable to the conveyance of goods, basically cargo. And it's also applicable to, damages.
Right.
Right, to harbors, vessels, pipelines, rigs, oil platforms. So marine insurance is actually very diverse, and it covers a lot of risks. But I think today our main focus is on cargo. Yes. And most people actually, when we talk of marine insurance, what comes to mind is marine cargo. And basically, marine cargo also covers any cargo that is being transported, either by sea, by aviation, or by inland transit models. Great.
Absolutely. Okay, so I know you are a member of the committee, like I rightly introduced.
Good.
What were some of the considerations that went into the thinking that this is the way to go?
Right. If we take our minds back, we've heard several times that what's the contribution of insurance to our GDP?
Right.
Basically 1%. Then we also hear a lot of, international trade going on. We are basically an importing country.
Absolutely.
And once we import with hard currency. So it's just a simple logic that if we are paying for the goods and we can provide the services in-house here in Ghana, why should we also import the services? There are over 10 or 20 insurance companies here, well-resourced, well-capitalized, that can insure all kinds of cargoes that are imported into this country.
Right.
And for that reason, the NIC felt it was appropriate that it put in place regulations.
When you say NIC, that's the National Insurance Commission.
Yes. Put in place regulations and procedures to forestall or curtail this activity of people buying or importing goods into the country on a CIF basis, cost insurance and freight.
Yeah.
It puts a lot of pressure on our economy. So I think it's one of the reasons that NIC felt was necessary. And also, there are instances that maybe on the second leg you realize that transactions are quite done in various languages. International trade, you don't need to travel to go and buy your goods and come. You can sit here and do all your transactions here.
Right.
Certain clauses of listings are inserted into the transactions for you, which you might not even understand. And then when the reason for which you are buying insurance crystallizes, you realize that you've bought insurance, but you don't have cover.
Right.
So to protect our importers and to put a stop to all of these things, I think it's one of the reasons that the NIC felt it was necessary that we streamline and sanitize the marine insurance space in this country.
Absolutely. Let me come to you, Ma'am, and find out what do you think the role of local marine insurance is in the shipping and logistics sector in our country?
Well, there are various risks associated with doing business. And insurance is a risk management mechanism.
Right.
We have risk of handling, risk of transport, the risk of even clearing the goods at the port, and various risks associated with when you're doing business, especially dealing with imported or exported goods. And so to protect the business person, you need somebody to share your risk with. And that is what insurance does. So it is always a good idea to manage your risk by putting the burden on somebody. That's what insurance does for you. So it's a risk transfer mechanism where you transfer the risk in the business you're doing to somebody else to bear that risk whilst you go to bed and relax. So basically, there are a lot of risk associated with bringing goods, whether by land, sea, or air. And some of these risks, some of them are even not the fault of the parties involved. And when we get to the benefits, we will discuss some of them, like a general average declaration by a carrier. That one, you don't even have anything to do with it. You'll just be there and you'll be slumped with it. Just like the ever-given getting stuck at the
Suez Canal.
So it was something that nobody planned for. And when such occurrences happen, it means that you need somebody to fall onto because they can be huge. They can be very huge. So this is what we are talking about, that take insurance to cover such risk so that insurance can help you get your business back should something unforeseen happens. So it's for the unforeseen and the unknown, which is always something that you don't plan for.
Right. You mentioned benefits, and so that was going to be my next question. What benefits we can derive from, insuring our cargo locally?
There are several benefits.
You mentioned general average.
Yes, so I'll explain. First, when you import, you realize that the law is regulating imported goods into the country, not exported goods outside of the country. Simply because when you are exporting goods, it's going to somebody else's country, and they will have their own laws and regulations, similar to what we have here, which will make it mandatory for their citizens to also buy insurance, because usually the risk will occur at the destination. When you import goods and your container comes, or you are offloading your bags of rice from a vessel, you'll notice the loss or damage in country. So once you notice loss or damage in country, it is easier for you when you have insured locally to walk to your insurance company and take your claim. Again, you are buying, anytime you are buying goods a step further in any of the Incoterms, and the seller is doing the obligation for you, it means they are adding their margins. And that is what people don't realize. So if I am arranging the transport for you, I have to add my margin on the transport. If I'm arranging insurance for you, I have to add my margin on the insurance. So if I'm doing all the throughput from origin to destination, it means for every stage, I have to add my margins. And so it means you are paying more for something that you could have done locally yourself at no extra margin to your business. So you are losing money. Again, it is easier to make claims with an insurance company that is within the country, where, one, you are buying the insurance in foreign exchange. So again, you are making losses on foreign exchange. And we all complain that our CD is always fluctuating. These are some of the things. We are buying huge things from outside the country, bringing them in, and then we are paying insurance on these things that are in foreign currency again. These are things that you can easily avoid and then make more profit for your business. You're also looking at things like carrier's limitation of liability. When you lose your goods, mostly people think that, oh, when my goods are coming and they get lost in an aircraft or in a ship, the carrier will pay for it. Carriers are regulated by international regulations. Some of them, like the Hague-Visby rules, the Hamburg rules, which regulate international transport of goods by sea. And by air, we have the Warsaw Convention and the others. These conventions protect the carrier, and therefore they have some exceptions and exemptions from certain things that happen. And even when things happen, they have things that protect them under those laws, which allows them to limit their liability. So let's say you bought this water for 10 cities and you lose it on a vessel. It's likely the carrier will pay you something like 2 cities. So the rest of the 8 cities, it's your risk to manage. So these are, when insurance comes in, they'll pay you for the sum insured or for the damage or loss that you incurred and put you at the place where you were before the loss, which is called the measure of indemnity when you are dealing with insurance.
Right.
And so, again, people buy goods on policies that do not cover their risk, just like Fifi mentioned earlier when he started speaking. We have different clauses under the insurance policies. We have what we call the Institute Cargo Clause A, which covers what we call the all risk. We have B and C. The B and C are named per risk. If you buy something like a television under the Institute Cargo Clause C, you have an insurance policy.
Right.
But what is your biggest risk, Kennedy? I'm asking you. When you buy something like a television and you are bringing it, what's your biggest risk with that?
That doesn't break.
Breakage.
No damage is caused. Really.
No damage, or breakage.
Yeah.
Now, the Institute Cargo Clause C doesn't cover anything like breakage.
Okay.
So you would have an insurance policy. You have actually paid for it. And then you think that you have cover. But the item you are bringing and the policy you have do not even match because it doesn't have cover breakage. And so, or pilferage, something like that, or theft.
Right.
So it means that you have paid for something that is useless. But when you sit with an insurer locally, he can advise you on what to do and be able to tell you exactly what you need for what you are bringing in to be able to cover your risk in totality.
Right.
So that you'll be able to have a comprehensive policy that protects you. Again, you have a regulator like the NIC where if the insurance company misbehaves, you can easily report them to. I've had people come to my office with policies that are in Chinese. They have lost so much and they can't get their money back because if the seller is not able to help you in the country of origin to claim, it means that you have to even incur extra cost in the claim process. So the benefit to the importer is enormous, and these are just but a few.
I have a few to add to what my sister just shared with you. Obtaining marine insurance locally is very easy. It's just an issue of perception. It's one of the easiest, just like buying any insurance on the market.
Right.
You have an intermediary to go through, that's a broker. You can equally go to the insurance company yourself directly. You buy your insurance, and the cover is given to you. Even the course of negotiation, everything on the policy will be explained to you in a language that you best understand. If it's in English, and excuse me, maybe your English is not very good, and you can understand it in Chi, the person can explain it to you in a language you understand. Right. My sister also said something. You can pay in your local currency. You don't need to pay for the insurance in dollars or something. No, you pay in the currency that you are here doing business with that Ghanaian city. And then also, when you have claims, the insurance company is that you walk straight to the insurance company. If you're having challenges with the insurance, making claims are also very simple. The same documents that you took to the insurance company to effect the policy will be the same documents that will be used to substantiate your claim and other documents that you get from ports and harbor and then ship owners. If you're having challenges with the insurance company when it comes to claims, there are various steps in your way that can help you. One, there is this, intermediaries, brokers. They have an association, which is IBAC. If you bought through an intermediary and you're having challenges, the association has access to the insurance company to step in to try and resolve your issue. If you buy it directly through the insurance company, we have the Ghana Insurance Association. We have a complaint desk. You go there, you lodge your complaint, they look into the merits of your case, and then invite the insurance company and resolve it. If these two things does not work for you, you can escalate to the ultimate, that's the National Insurance Commission, which also has a complaint desk, and that's where all issues pertaining to marine insurance will be addressed. So if you buy an insurance here, rest assured, every issue that you have will be addressed and attended to.
Once an incident happens, the first thing you have to do is to notify your insurer. Okay, don't touch anything. Notify your insurer and also notify your carrier. This is important because sometimes the carrier's reply to you also helps to facilitate your claim. And again, the insurers have what we call a right of subrogation against the carriers. So if you don't notify the carrier, it means you are denying the insurer also of their right of subrogation against the carrier. And if you touch things before you, it's just like your car gets damaged. You go and repair it before you inform your insurance company. How do they verify that you had an accident? It will be difficult, right? So the first thing is, if they want to come and cite it, it is their right to do so. If they say you go ahead and appoint an independent surveyor to do it, again, then it means they have given you the authorization to do so. Yeah. So once that is done, and you have all these documents together, your surveyor's report, your claim estimates, your important document, because every cargo will come with different documentation.
Absolutely.
If it is something like electricals that you are bringing in, there's an authority that has to give you a certification. If it's about food, you need your Food and Drugs Authority certifications. If it's about standards, you need a standard authority. So every cargo will have its peculiar documentation. So make sure that all the documentations are together.
Right. Fill
your claim form very well. That is why it is good to use brokers as well, or somebody who understands to do it for you, because they will help you with the claim process. And because they deal with the insurance companies all the time, they can walk into Fifi's office or anybody else's office and then go and say that, Charlie, I'm following up on this claim. How far? So use the independent intermediaries like the insurance brokers, the cargo surveyors to help you with the reporting and to help you with the claim process. So
we have your comments coming up next.
This comment comes from Ernest Pamfo on Facebook. He says, the freight forwarders themselves, who are supposed to enlighten the importers about the importance of marine insurance, have a weak understanding of the concept. I think that education on marine insurance should target freight forwarders first.
I think the NIC is doing that because that's the stakeholder consultation. We had various off-site meetings with them, and I think they are also coming on board with their understanding of the need for the marine insurance.
Right.
Eye on Port returns after this break.
Guys, now I'm tired. I'll go on a date with whoever gets here first.
Princess, really? Okay, I dey come.
Shut up!
Mame, fill me tank, mama. Boss, fill my tank with Super XP Raw 95.
Fill up with Super XP Raw 95 and Diesel XP high performance products from Goyle.
Sorry, Tony got here first, so I'm stepping with him.
Oh, cut him. Hey, go for mami.
Choose Super XP Raw 95 and Diesel XP for an energizing driving experience. Always go for Goyle Super XP Raw 95. Goyle, good energy.
Goyle is good energy. Electricity, then pay your taxes. Yeah, our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is, you still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Impressive factory. If only I had listened to you, I wouldn't have been in this mess. That devastating fire virtually wiped out the whole factory and my warehouse.
Remember my misfortunes last year? Serene Insurance Asset All Risk Fire policy that I took were there to pay for my damaged stocks in the warehouse, and my machines that were affected by the floods have been replaced. My accident vehicle is back on the road thanks to Serene Insurance motor policy. Currently, my goods are on the high seas, covered with their marine cargo insurance policy. I was just telling Ajima about Serene Insurance.
Oh, Ajima,
tell him more.
As a road contractor, I make sure I do my contractors all risk insurance for the project, and then workers' compensation for all the workers on site. With Serene Insurance, they will make sure they will cover your unknown tomorrow today.
Serene Insurance, a new face of insurance. Call us now.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
Business and life can be like the sea sometimes. Sometimes serene, sometimes calm, sometimes turbulent, and at times it brings the unexpected. However it is like, trust Phoenix Insurance for your home, car, business, and marine insurance needs. Call 0302 246 319 or 0243 690 492.
At Phoenix, you experience a delightful service delivered with wisdom.
Welcome back from the break. Now, news and activities happening within the port and maritime industry next. The Ministry of Transport has intensified its stakeholder engagement on the draft National Electric Vehicle Policy, the latest being an engagement with some section of the Ghanaian media. So far, the Transport Ministry has held consultative engagement in 14 out of 16 regions, with Greater Accra and Upper West regions to go. The government, under the Paris Climate Accord, has drafted a national electric vehicle policy to solicit stakeholder input and enable the country to switch from the use of fossil fuel vehicles to electronic vehicles to curb greenhouse gas emissions and global warming. The drafted policy, whose framework was developed in June 2022, is aimed at drawing up a comprehensive implementation plan and an investment strategy to ensure a seamless transition. The Director of Policy Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation at the Ministry of Transport, Irene Mesiba, said the engagement is meant to solicit the views of journalists before the final draft is put together.
And as I said, the policy is not tomorrow. We are giving a heads up to everybody that it is coming, so we all need to be prepared.
The Deputy Minister of Transport, Asan Tampoli, noted that as global automotive markets begin to phase out fossil-fueled vehicles for electric ones, Ghana risk becoming a dumping site if synergic efforts are not harnessed to switch to electronic vehicles.
As we move along, what do we do with the existing means of transport that we have, so that we are not leading a situation where we leave some people who are probably just acquired a vehicle and not able to use them in the next 5-10 years. So as we are thinking of rolling out EVs, we are also thinking very critically of what to do with the existing vehicles so that they don't become waste, for all of us.
He said Ghana stands at the threshold of history if she gets it right with the transition to the electronic vehicles.
If we get it right, we carry the entire sub-region along. Like I said before in one other place that we met, between Ghana and Nigeria, we account for 75% of the petroleum products consumed in the West Africa sub-region alone. So if we're able to do this right, Nigeria becomes a potent market for us.
The Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority has clarified the reasons supporting the need to revise and restructure its tariffs, whose implementation began on the 1st of August. In a press release dated 3rd August, to address the concerns of some sections of the trading public, including the Ghana Union of Traders Association, the authority cited increases in operational costs emerging from inflation, currency depreciation, and other effects of the current global economic challenge. While GPHA empathized with the difficulties of traders, the authority maintained it was necessary to avoid running into losses. The authority also indicated that sufficient stakeholder engagement has been done, which led to certain reductions in the initial figures captured in the tariff proposals. GPHA noted that the decline in cargo volumes at the country's ports cannot be attributed to the authority's service charges, which account for only about 6% of the total cost of clearance at the ports. GPHA also disclosed that it has begun investigations into the individual contributors and their share to the total cost of cargo clearance in Ghana's ports, so collectively, all stakeholders can engage to find possible solutions.
It's now time for some international ports and maritime news. After several days of deliberation, it has been concluded that Insure will serve as a designated port of refuge for the distressed freighter Fremantle Highway. The ship caught fire on 25th July this year as the car carrier, loaded with nearly 3,000 vehicles, was sailing some 27 kilometers north of Amiland and Highland of the northern Dutch coast. The fire prompted an evacuation of the 23 crew members. Regrettably, one crew member has been reported deceased. The decision was made by the Dutch Ministry of Infrastructure and Water Management, as Insure is the most suitable port due to its closeness to the temporary anchorage. By keeping the towage journey as short as possible, the risk due to deteriorating weather conditions, for example, can be mitigated. The wind-assisted propulsion sector has experienced remarkable growth and continued momentum during the first half of 2023, with significant advancements reshaping the maritime industry. During this period, the International Windship Association said the sector has seen 5 new installations, the delivery of 6 wind-ready vessels and boats, a promising pipeline of projects in progress. The adoption of the wind-assisted propulsion technology has garnered widespread attention in the shipping industry, with numerous ship owners and operators recognizing its potential to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and enhance efficiency. It's now time for the word of the day. On moor refers to the removal of the ropes that attach a ship to the shore. We have the schedules of vessels in the port, those at anchorage and those expected in the coming week, plus the Bank of Ghana exchange rate you need to know to clear your goods from the port. That's all for this week's episode of Iron Port. I believe I've been able to bring you some education on marine cargo insurance, as well as the need for importers to insure their goods locally. Thank you for watching, and thanks to the entire crew. Join us same time next week.